Hello and welcome to the creaking salt-soaked tables of the Brazen Hydra pub in Bilgewater. We're your hosts, Groven,
Conquest,
and today we'll be sharing a pint and talking all things Runeterra and beyond. So a bit of an interesting schedule today. Obviously, we're gonna talk Tryndamere and his Riot MMO tweet in terms of scheduling and where they're at in development. This show actually gets recorded on Wednesday, and so this tweet went out right after we were done recording. So it got pushed back for the following week. We would have talked about it last week, but we'll talk about it this week. What are our thoughts in terms of the podcast? Spoiler alert: there was no real news anyways before this, so we're just gonna keep doing what we were doing. It's not gonna really
we're
change
already like
anything for
18
us.
hours in. What's 200 more?
Exactly. We'll say what episode we might be on in terms of if the RiotMMO all the way till the RiotMMO in terms of our estimated release dates, what episode we might be on. And then there's also some other stuff. We're going to talk Asmongold. Some of you may be familiar with him. He made some recommendations to save WoW, and we're going to see how those translate to the RiotMMO, things they might be looking at, mistakes that they shouldn't make, and maybe preemptive solutions that they can have for that. And then if we have time, we'll talk foods across Runeterra, because honestly, cooking was one of my favorite professions in World of Warcraft, and there better be some cooking
Agreed.
in the Riot MMO.
Oh yeah, dude. Oh my god. Yeah, we're gonna have to push that topic off like for towards the end, but like I was talking about the fishes, dude. It's gonna be fishing,
Yep.
right? For the cooking.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. We'll get into that for sure.
We'll squeeze in fishing too. For cooking and fishing. We'll talk cooking and fish.
Absolutely.
All right. So, in case you were in a hole, and if we are your only source of news, number one, bless your soul. Okay. Number two,
Yeah. Wow.
we're going to update you on something that's pretty big for the Riot MMO. In case anyone's still curious, me and Conquest are very much into the Riot MMO. We're excited about the Riot MMO. And so any piece of news that comes out about it, we're going to cover it here.
Absolutely. For better or for worse.
Yeah, for better or for worse. And this isn't as bad as many people think, okay? But
Yeah, I
Tryndamere,
agree.
yeah, we temper your expectations, okay? No one's raging. But
Mhm.
Tryndamere, aka Mark Merrill, who's the co-founder of Riot Games and really led the Riot MMO project for a long time, came out with this tweet on March 20th, and it's at 4.9 million views. So needless to say, it's got some traction. But
Mhm.
he starts with, "Hey all, we know many of you are hungry for news about the Riot Games MMO project." Obviously.
Yes. Clearly.
So I'll just read. Actually, I'll read it section by section so that way they know, like, if I'm quoting him or we're talking about it. So I'll just read the first tweet before I say anything. But hey, all, we
Okay.
know many of you are hungry for news about the Riot Games MMO project. We really appreciate your patience and incredible support you've shown to us so far. I'm writing to update you today on where we're at. And before anyone panics, yes, we are still working on the game. Hashtag League of Legends. So right off the bat, they're still working on the game, which is good news at
Yeah,
that
that's
point.
good news. Yeah, we'll take that. Absolutely. I consider that a win because, man, if we gotten very little information from the very first, Twitter tease that he gave us up to now. So it's always very hard to tell if, if things are rocky or if everything's going smooth and great. Especially for an MMO, it's going to be years of development. And we're never going to really be able to tell until way later. So it's good to know that, yes, they are working on this. It's coming along. This game will come out.
Yep. And I will say this, the only thing that made me panic is when he said before anyone panics. I was like, so
Yeah.
should we be panicking already? All he
Yeah,
said
is
was that
there
we're
a
still,
reason?
yeah. We will find out why he said don't panic.
Yep.
But
We sure
the tweet
will.
goes on to say, after a lot of reflection and discussion, we've decided to reset the direction of the project some time ago. This decision wasn't easy, but it was necessary. The initial vision just wasn't different enough from what you can play today. Now, this is a big portion, so I'm just going to stop there. What do you think
Yeah,
about
yeah.
that line so
Right
far?
off the bat, I am like 99.9% certain they're talking about World of Warcraft, right?
Yes.
I think any MMO today that is mimicking another MMO, it's mimicking World of Warcraft. Like you don't see many MMOs today that are copying Guild Wars 2 or
Yeah.
RuneScape, you
No.
know? They're copying the formula that is tried and true the formula that gave Final Fantasy 14 the success it has now. They're copying World of Warcraft. And honestly, off of that part alone in the tweet, I'm already like, I'm both really happy and really nervous, right? Because like one part of me, like I even said before that, yeah, I don't want this going to be World of Warcraft. If I want to play World of Warcraft, I can go play World of Warcraft. That game's still live. It's come out with new content. There's no reason to make another World of Warcraft when that game's already live and ongoing still. But there's so many things I love about World of Warcraft, that so many like little things or even like deep core mechanics that I want to see in every MMO, because I think it works. You know, like we've already talked about the Holy Trinity to hell and back on this on this here podcast. The tank healer DPS specs are something I much prefer over the way Guild Wars 2 does their roles, which are like non-existent. So there's little things like that here and there where I'm like, I hope, like, you know, I hope they weren't disappointed with, you know, them having roles and things like that, or even like professions, like we're going to talk about later, which are like, you know, definitely World of Warcraft inspired in our minds. So that, you know, like I said, it leaves a lot of potential for sure. I'm glad they're not one-to-one copying World of Warcraft. You can already like tell off of that tweet, assuming they're copying World of Warcraft, which I think they are. But who knows where they're going to take the MMO from here now, just off of
Yeah.
that one sentence.
Tryndamere was playing classic, so I assume that he was maybe getting influenced a little bit by the classic gameplay. And I do think that there's some things that should not be changed just to be changed. Like they
Yeah,
shouldn't be different
absolutely.
just to be different. Be
Mm-hmm.
even World of Warcraft was not different to be different. It took what was it, Guild Wars was the game before that, that World of
Took
Warcraft was
EverQuest. Yeah, it
EverQuest.
was
It
basically
took
EverQuest on easy mode.
Yes. It took EverQuest, made it on easy mode, and it made a lot of improvements. And I don't think
Yeah, it had a
quality
lot
of
of quality
life
of
is
life. Made it very accessible to new people. It's what made the MMO genre mainstream for a while, from like
yep.
vanilla WoW to Wrath of the Lich King, right? Because it was
Yeah,
accessible. Because they changed up the formula just enough. It was perfect.
exactly. And it goes on from that. Like what is League of Legends based on? League
Oh,
of Legends is
Dota
based on
2, which is
Dota.
a mod of
Uh,
Warcraft 3.
but what did League of Legends do? They gave it their own flair, their own flash to it, and they made some changes to the game. But it was still the game. I still want to feel that MMO. I don't. The one thing that will kill me is if they try to make it so different from World of Warcraft that it's like all
Yeah,
almost
that we get a
Warframe.
freaking like we don't want a new world scenario.
Yes, no, exactly.
Where they take it too far to a point where I don't even recognize it as an MMO anymore. There are some MMO tropes that just work, man. That I just
Yep.
like, they're the reason why I play an MMO. So
Maybe they
it's,
felt like they
yeah,
were too on the nose, like they were really
that's
like
what I'm
it
thinking.
literally felt like if you're playing it and it felt like World of Warcraft, that would be bad. Like if someone was playing it and they're like, wait, this literally feels like World of Warcraft exactly. But
Yeah.
it's just Runeterra. And like they had the spell bar and like you're gonna have to do some things different. But
Mhm.
at the same time, if some things do feel
Know what
like World of
works.
Warcraft, that's okay because World of
Yeah.
Warcraft is still pretty great.
Oh, it's still an amazing MMO. I mean, I
Yeah,
still think it's the best MMO out there right now,
it
by
is.
far, in my
It
opinion.
is.
Yeah, there's some things that they really nailed with World of Warcraft that defined the MMO genre because it was so just like well crafted mechanically, and just
Yeah.
it's an MMO where all MMOs before World of Warcraft were very high bar, very difficult to get into because they were so like systematic and complex. World of Warcraft took everything that was good about MMOs before it and just made it easy to digest. And they
Yeah.
brought it into such a simple, perfect form where they cut out all the fat of MMOs. And then you just got this lean, amazing experience. So,
Yep.
like, the things that they did with Vanilla WoW in terms of their professions, which they dumbed down a lot compared to other MMOs, in terms of skill trees, you know, like we said, like the like dungeons, like instance content. Like there are some things that I still would just love to see in every MMO because it works and I have
The
fun every time
mainstays.
I experience it. Yeah, like I mean, like skill trees, they can obviously mix up skill trees, right? There's a
Yeah.
lot of different ways you can go with that, a lot of different nuances you can mess around with.
But it still needs to be there. Like there still needs to be a
Yeah,
skill
exactly.
tree.
But I still want like my skills where I can where like you're locked into a class, but you have some creative freedom inside of your class. That's what skills are. So like stuff like that, I'm like, yeah, I want that in the Riot MMO because
See,
it works. I still have my class fantasy and I get to be unique. It's best of
that
both worlds.
that's
Stuff like
one
that's
thing that
just
I'm worried about
genius.
though, too, is the classes. Like classes is the mainstay of World of Warcraft. But like they could
Yeah.
say, okay, we want to go a classless system. Okay, but then you're just going into Final Fantasy territory. Like
Yeah. I
you
mean, like, luckily,
and
even Final Fantasy 14 has its like barriers between the classes. You know, like you can't be a warrior in Final Fantasy 14 and start healing. Like you have
yeah,
to switch to your healer class.
but
And
I wouldn't
even
like that
even
if you
then,
can
yeah,
just
I
switch
still prefer
around.
World of Warcraft's way. Yeah,
Yeah.
I still prefer when it's like your character is this class, right? Your character's a warlock. All right, you can't switch to a paladin if you're a warlock.
Mm.
But yeah,
And
my
people
biggest
take
fear is that they
pride
go
in
the
their
complete opposite
classes.
way.
There's whole communities around them. There's whole Discord servers just around a
Oh
specific
yeah, dude.
class.
Yeah, and that just adds so much more like social identity, right? Like you are your character and you're that warrior. All other warriors now relate to you more than any other class.
Yeah.
Fellow warrior players. Like, yeah, dude, little stuff like that, which is why, yeah, I agree. I'd be very scared if they went the complete opposite direction, and start going into like, oh, everyone starts off the same and you build your character how you want, right? That's my biggest fear. That's what I hope they never do. Because then that just
Yeah.
leads to like, there's such thing as too much freedom to a point where it just restricts the players into all going down the same path, right?
That would
Like,
happen.
yeah, I'm gonna look up the optimal healer build if I want to play a healer. And I'm gonna run that build. There's stuff like that that really like becomes problematic, and that much freedom to a point where I don't even really enjoy it because I don't have any identity at that point. Like I could build my character any way I want, but then what is my character?
Because your decisions don't matter anymore. When you have too much freedom, your decisions don't matter.
Yeah, exactly. That's a very good way of putting it.
Yeah,
So yeah,
when you can be
basically
every
just
profession, you don't have to specialize in a skill. Then
mhm.
when you don't have to specialize in a skill and you can be every profession, then no one matters because everyone's a blacksmith. I don't need a
Yeah,
blacksmith.
dude.
Everyone's an herbalist. I don't need a guy going around picking flowers because I can do it.
Yeah, exactly. Like your character has certain qualities to them that they possess that like that's them. They're an alchemist, then that's it, dude. Some people aren't alchemists, and that makes people who are alchemists all the more special. People that
Yeah,
aren't alchemists are something else, and that makes them special. Like I really like that. So yeah, there are certain things that just World of Warcraft really nailed. And yeah, the class identity and like profession identity even that definitely was one thing that I want to see in the Riot MMO for sure. So it's like, dude, yeah, we'll see what they keep and what they don't. This is obviously all
Holy
assuming that they're
Trinity.
copying World of Warcraft. I just think they
Holy
are. Holy
needs to
Trinity.
stay. Needs to stay.
Holy Trinity has to stay, dude. It's just it's the ultimate like fantasy way of making people rely on each other in combat, right? And combat's obviously like as much as we're talking about the skills and professions and everything, it's all going to revolve around combat. The
Yep.
professions lead to the combat, the skills lead to the combat, everything leads to the combat, which is why the combat also needs a social aspect. And that's where roles come in. That's where the Holy Trinity comes in. You need other people to cooperate, to communicate, to make the magic happen in that dungeon where you're fighting that big bad. Like, dude, yeah, World of Warcraft really was revolutionary. Like,
Yep.
this stuff, obviously, all this stuff existed before World of Warcraft. World of Warcraft just kind of perfected it. They just made it nice and simple and just fun. And I want to
And
see that in the Riot MMO. But I've still like I said, that still leaves a lot of potential, and I'm definitely glad that they're not making it just World of Warcraft. There's that balance that they got to strike for sure. So if what he's saying is like really true, that like they really were just going to make this game World of Warcraft with Runeterra code of paint, based on our assumption, then I'm glad that he made the decision that he did. That we'll get into later in the tweet.
yeah, and even this, like the rest of this portion of the tweet, really doesn't extend past this specific topic. But I wanted to stop there and just like get all our points in. But he does go
Yeah,
on
because
to
that was a
say
big
in
one.
that, yeah, it's huge. But in that section, he says, "We don't believe you all want an MMO that you've played before with a Runeterra coat of paint. To truly do justice to the potential of Runeterra and to meet the incredibly high expectations of players around the world, we need to do something that truly feels like a significant evolution of the genre. This is a huge challenge, but one our team of deeply passionate MMO players and game development veterans is incredibly motivated to pursue. Now, he does say evolution in the genre. I mean, that means something's evolving. And when something evolves, when a Pokemon evolves, it's still that same Pokemon. It still looks the same, right? Its
True.
abilities just got like Charizard's not going from breathing fire to breathing water. Okay.
Yeah,
So I hope
that's a
that
very good
like
point.
that's even
There is
more
still
of
some Charmeleon in there. Yeah.
exactly. We skip over Charmeleon really. Oh no, what is it? Yeah, we skip over
Yeah, yeah.
Charmeleon really quick. He's the middle one. He's all right.
Yeah, he's the awkward, like, pubescent
Yeah.
phase.
Yeah, we throw stones at Charmander to get him up to a Charizard. That's what we do. Just throw him a couple rocks.
Fair enough. So there's still some Charmander in there, in that
Yeah,
Charizard.
yeah. Might not be any Charmeleon.
Non-existent.
But yeah,
It's either a child or an adult.
that's what I think. Like that's what I hope. Let's hope it's an evolution in the genre and not just let's be different to be different.
Yeah, that's a very good point, actually. They, they honestly don't. There are some key parts that they do need to change if they want to stand out, but they don't need to change everything to stand out to be their own MMO,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly.
Just
World of
like,
Warcraft would not be confused with EverQuest, despite it being based on it in a lot of ways.
yeah, absolutely. Like I mean, like especially when it first came out, right? Like the EverQuest fans were absolutely just like trashing World of Warcraft for being just an easier EverQuest, but it brought in the players, dude, because they were different in all the right ways. Like at the end of the day, World of Warcraft wasn't EverQuest. It appealed to a different audience than EverQuest. And it appealed to a larger audience at that. So, and it's because it made the right changes. And I hope that's what they mean, that they're going from here on out to make the right changes, to evolve the MMO genre to fit the modern day, because that's what World of Warcraft did. It fit the modern time that it was in, and it
Yep.
worked out amazing for it.
The difficult thing that would very much make the Riot MMO different than any other game I've ever played in my life would be free to play without pay to win. And by the way, pay to win in MMO, in my opinion, also includes being like cosmetic. I
I
feel like
agree.
that's pay to win as well. And I really think I said it before, I think a battle pass is a great way to go because then it's just pay and you can get a couple of these cosmetics, but you still have to earn them via in-game actions. So it's not just I'm
Yeah.
buying this skin to show off. So
Yeah,
my
dude.
solution.
Honestly, like I think of Trader's Post on World of
Yeah,
Warcraft.
Trader's
If you
Post
remove the
was
fact that you
good.
can buy
I
the
think it's got
tokens,
gutted at this
yeah.
point, but yeah, I
Yeah, no,
think
it's like, I mean, they're still doing it, but now you can buy the tokens, which completely destroys the whole
just
purpose
put
of
a
it.
store in the game. That's all it
Yeah,
did.
it's just a store. It's just a store with a premium currency now. But before that, what it was a store of really cool cosmetics with a special currency that you only get from getting achievements in the
Yep.
game and, like playing the game frequently enough in general, just hopping on. So not only did it encourage people to hop onto the game in the first place, but it encouraged people to go for the achievements that you normally wouldn't care to because they wouldn't offer any kind of like big cosmetic or title or anything. They would just be like a normal achievement. Now those normal achievements have purpose and they put you out in the world and give you things to do. That I think was amazing. If they put that in a battle pass form, that
See?
would be phenomenal. Like new
See?
achievements for
Yes.
the Freljord saga. There's all new achievements that come out, and if you buy the battle pass, those achievements will give you currency that you can spend on like the special shop for like the Freljord saga. That would be
I
sick.
I like how you keep calling it a saga as well. Very good. Yes, saga.
I honestly have to like catch myself because I'm like I like the saga idea so much,
Yeah.
dude. I
All
want
right.
stories.
Here's where the heat comes in. You ready? Now we're
Yeah,
gonna
hit
get
me
into
with
the
it.
heat, guys. Everyone is we right
Yeah.
now all
It
they
comes
said
in
was
good.
we're still working on it. There's a reset. We don't know what that means. All right. They're just whatever. Like, okay, but now
Yeah, we're
here's
still
where
lost.
people started getting spicy.
Mhm.
With this new direction, I'm excited to introduce at Fabricio, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but his name is Fabrices. As the new executive producer of the MMO, Fabrice's experience as a player and a passion for creating immersive worlds is extraordinary, having led big projects at Riot, BioWare, and EA. He brings a fresh perspective and a shared commitment to excellence that will guide our team as they continue on this difficult journey. Now, guys, I understand. Okay. EA and BioWare, I'm not a fan either.
Yeah.
But if you really look at this guy's track record, he spent 1 year at EA on a game that never came out. And at BioWare, he worked on Mass Effect 3, a lot of the expansions there. And so uh Mass Effect 3 is actually a great game and the multiplayer is still active today. So what he worked on at BioWare, which was a long time ago now at this point, is great. And he worked on a Star Wars game at EA for 1 year, but that was 2 years before the game even released. So I don't even call it that he worked at EA. But then
Mhm.
everyone's like, ladies and gentlemen, Anthem 2. Like what? This guy has no, it's not like
He didn't work on Anthem.
it's like, man,
What?
everyone's just raging. Everyone's like, we're cooked. Like, this guy doesn't bring fresh perspective. What are you talking about? The project should never have been made public. Now with this, like, it's unfortunate. It's probably never not gonna be released in a good state, anyways. Everyone pack it up. Like, there's nothing good down here. No one's saying like, okay, we'll see what he does. Like, really disappointed. Can't say I'm surprised. It's
Mhm.
it's honestly painful. I feel bad for this guy. It's like
Yeah, no, me
me.
too. Because
Like,
he reads this stuff, and that's
yeah.
probably not helping morale with the team at all.
Oh my gosh, like, I imagine you work at a company, right?
Mhm.
Freaking 8 years ago, you worked on a project, you left that company. I don't even know how long this was. It was a long time ago. But let's say 8 years
Yeah, I'm
ago, you
assuming
worked at a
Mass Effect 3 is
company.
pretty old.
Yeah, it is. Uh, yeah, I think it's 6 years between them. It's probably like 8 years from, yeah,
Yeah.
no, five, wait, 5, 6. It's actually 10 years. Wow. I think
Yeah, I was about
it's
to say,
10
like, I
years
was in, like,
ago.
middle school when that dropped, so it was
Yeah.
at least, like, a decade ago.
So 10 years ago, you worked at a company that you now left. You haven't been there for 10 years. And then the company does something that's like, pretty, not everyone's a huge fan of, and no one likes it. And so they come at you and be like, we're not going to hire you because of this company. Like that they did this back then. Like they did this already, like today. You have nothing to do with it
Mhm.
anymore.
Yup.
So,
Also, I think people have to remember that, like, at the end of the day, the scummy decisions that are being made at EA are not being made by the developers.
yeah.
Like, same with any, like, triple A big video game corporation. Like, do you really think the Overwatch team decided, "Yeah, we're gonna put loot boxes in the game, that's gonna be great?"
Yeah, no.
Like, no, dude, and same with, like, the amount of time they're given, the resources they have to make their games. At the end of the day, that kind of stuff is not decided by the devs. If they come out with a bad game, they're definitely not doing it on purpose.
Yes.
So, like, you have to remember that every person that becomes a game developer is most likely doing it out of passion. You're not becoming a game developer to make big money, because the truth is you're probably not gonna make big money as a game developer. There's a very strong chance you're not going into
Yeah.
that field. This dude probably entered game development out of passion. This dude probably loves video games. The people just kind of forget that as soon as they hear what company they're from, and they start associating them with the execs there. And that's just
Yeah.
I feel like that might be a Twitter thing though, honestly. Twitter in general is just like negativity up the wazoo. So
Twitter,
like,
Reddit. Yeah, they're just like kind of
yeah,
tend to be toxic. Everyone's behind a screen name.
yeah, dude. And like, you also gotta remember that at the end of the day, most people even with World of Warcraft, for example, right now, you're gonna see a lot of negativity on Twitter and Reddit about World of Warcraft all the time. But that's because the people who like the game are not talking about it on Reddit and Twitter. They're playing the game. They're on World of Warcraft. And I think the same thing's going to happen with this game, right? The people who are silently waiting for the Riot MMO right now and will play it when it launches, they might not even know it exists right now. But when it launches, they're going to play it and they might end up loving it. And they'll have no idea that it was made by this guy and they won't care. And I think that's going to be the
Exactly.
majority of people. We're just seeing the Twitter and Reddit people that are being their usual selves about any game that comes out, even before it comes out.
Yeah. And most people just like liked it and moved on. Like people who like it are not gonna go down and comment. It's always the silent minority or the loud
Yeah,
minority. in
Yeah,
this kind of
that's absolutely
situations.
what it is. I think that's true for any MMO, even this one before it even has a stinking name. We're already there with this community.
Yeah, but we both know it's gonna be Runeterra.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely. It's gonna be Runeterra. God, the
just
name better
Runeterra.
be so cool. Be so cool if
Keep
the
it
name's just
simple.
Runeterra, dude. Oh my god, please.
Yeah,
But yeah, I think there's gonna be a majority of people that are not in the Twitter comment section. So I'm not too concerned about those people personally.
yeah. So anyway, that's what we're trying to say. Fabrices, he's gonna be fine. Oh, you wait. What'd you say that he played that other game like Dragon Age Camelot or something
Oh,
like
Dragon
that?
Age Inquisition.
Yeah, he worked
Yeah.
on that
That was
too,
a
and
very good
apparently
game.
that game is very like has tons
Absolutely.
of. I think it's definitely mostly positive on Steam. Same with
I
Mass
mean, yeah, and
Effect
also
3.
just when it
So
came out, it was well received, I remember. I played a
yeah,
little bit of it myself back then. And yeah, it's a
Fabrices
good
was on
game.
that.
Yeah, dude, that game definitely received its fair share of praise.
Okay, so there we go. Fabrices, it's gonna be okay, guys. He's gonna be fine.
It's gonna be fine.
And then so we move on to the next part. We started laying the groundwork for this pivot some time ago, and over the last year, under Vijay Thaikar's management, we built key components of the technical foundation to create the kind of ambitious game we're talking about. We're grateful for Vijay's leadership, and that he'll be a part of the game leadership team going forward as our technical director. Now, this is pretty big because Vijay Thaikar was basically he was in charge of the Riot MMO before Fabrices took over right now. And so a lot of people were like, "Oh, we don't know what's happening. Did he get demoted or something like that?" I don't think that's the case. I think what happened here is that as the Ride MMO leader there, he really focused in on the technical foundation, on the technical portion of the game, and built it out. Like he built the groundwork for this. And this is over the last year, which means that this decision to change direction was a year ago, and we're hearing about it now for one. And during that time, Vijay Thaikar built out the technical foundation in a great way. And so to allow him to focus on that, they moved him to the technical director role. So he doesn't have to deal with all the other monotonous stuff. And they moved Fabrices into the Radamog like lead role so that he can work on everything else while Vijay focuses even more on the technical portion. That's what I
Yeah.
think happened.
I believe that. I mean, honestly, who knows before we
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
we
think
can't
anyone
assume
can
it.
really
I
make
mean,
any claims to what's going on, but that's definitely a solid guess, I would say.
yeah,
Like I can see that happening for sure.
it makes
But
sense. Like he
yeah,
built out the technical foundation, moved to the technical director role.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't see why he would leave the project entirely cuz he seems like he's pretty invested. So, but
Yep.
who knows for sure, and the people assuming the worst are assuming the worst without really any claim. So, any evidence of anything, so whatever.
But he does say some time ago and over the last year, which means that this happened like at the beginning of 2023. They're reset. They're changing direction. It's not happening this week and Tryndamere said, "Let me release a tweet on it."
Mhm.
This is
Yeah,
like a
yeah,
year in
this
the
was not
making.
a, yeah, this was definitely a pretty, like, predetermined tweet, I would say.
Yeah.
This feels way too thought out for it to just, like, be them giving us an update on what happened last night. Yeah, I would not be surprised that all of this has been happening for a while now, just based on how this tweet's been formatted. Like, it seems like they're already well into development on this, new version of the Ride MMO.
Yep. And what I really like is they're saying they laid out the technical foundation for it. And I feel like that really shows that they have a path. Like they already like they're not saying that they're resetting and they're trying to figure out a new direction. I feel that means they really have the direction, like the technical foundation, and I think we were talking about it earlier. The art assets and the stuff that they built out for that over the years so far, it's not like they're going to go to waste. I don't think the art style
Yeah.
is going to change. They're just changing the direction of the core game mechanics, like the actual game and how you play it. And a technical foundation has been built out, so they're on the path, and now it's just about putting in the work to get there. Like they have the roadmap.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely agree. It's not like they're like, "Oh, this is too similar to MMOs you've played before. We scrapped it. Oh well, we'll figure it out." It's like, no,
Yeah. Well,
they're already there. They've already figured out how to make this MMO unique and how to make it stand out. They're well ahead of what this tweet might come off as to some people.
yes. I'm with you. That's like was my thought. And then here's where things get bad again. so that was kind of like a neutral portion. There's only like 15 comments on it. No one's really saying anything because it doesn't really tell us anything.
Yeah.
But here's the part where things get heated, even more heated than the last one. So this says,
Yeah, that's saying a lot.
resetting our development path also means we will be going dark for a long time, like several years. This silence will help provide space for the team to focus on the incredible amount of work ahead of them. We understand the excitement and anticipation that surrounds new information, but we ask for your trust during this silent phase. Remember, no news is good news, as it means we're hard at work pouring our hearts and souls into making something that we hope you'll love. Now, that's interesting because I don't remember them ever giving us news to begin with. So like I don't
That's
feel
what
like
I
we've
was gonna say.
yeah. I feel like we've
Like,
been in
when
the
were they not in
dark.
the dark? Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
exactly. When were they in the light, dude?
Yeah, we've been in the dark for a freaking while. Like I don't remember any news. Like I wouldn't have the last news that we got was from Ghostcrawler saying it's an MMO. Here we
Yeah, yeah.
are
It was the
20 episodes
reply to a
later.
reply.
Okay?
Yeah.
So, so like we don't have any news. The only things we talk about really is we talk about the lore because me and you are both kind of lore nerds.
Hmm.
We talk about what we would like to see in the Riot MMO, how we'd like
Yeah,
to see like the world and the sagas and how we'd like the expansions and payment
yeah,
models, and that's what we
yeah.
talk about.
Oh yeah, yeah. This is all purely from our imagination.
Yeah,
Everything
but
we've
we've
talked
never
about up
covered
until now.
news.
Yeah, and trust me, if there was news, we would cover it, just like
Yeah,
right now.
but there's never been any news. We've never had any
No.
news. So I was like, wait, he's going dark? Well, what? I don't. What are we going
Yeah.
dark from?
Literally, I'm like, yeah, this is wow, way to shake things up, guys.
Yeah, but I think
I mean,
maybe he just wanted to say like he wanted to say that the development path is long and we're not going to be talking about it for a while, and so he just wanted to say that, and he felt like it wasn't enough by saying recent November also means will be a long time, like several years. He wanted to say like we're going dark, like we're going to be working on it, but it's just poor choice of terms because I don't know. It was we've never had any news to begin with. Like the
yeah,
silence
I mean, like,
continues.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Like more of the same. And I mean, like, that's fine, right? Because like this is a stinking MMORPG. If this game's to the scale of an MMORPG, yeah, they're probably not going to talk about it for a while because they're deep into massive, like gigantic scale video game development. So it's
Yep.
going to be forever until we see anything, which is yeah, like expected of an MMO. But I just thought it was very funny that they tweeted this out now saying like, yeah, we're not going to give any news for a while. Okay.
I can't
Yeah.
even hear without laughing.
Honestly,
I
me
I
too. 'Cause I'm
I
like,
really
dude,
tried
it's
to think
the
about
story
it
of my
when he
life.
said that. I was like, man, did we ever get any news? Like,
Like, did
did
I
we?
miss something?
Yeah. No, we didn't. We definitely didn't.
Yeah, yeah, we definitely did not.
I went to the RiotMMO.com. I was like, what news does he have? I'm like, cats, let's
Yeah,
speculate.
still,
Oh yeah,
yeah,
there's
still.
Ghostcrawler. I'm like, okay. Yeah. And then I was
There's
looking
ghost
because he's
crawler.
got an awesome lore section and stuff too on his web.
Oh, it's
I'm assuming
very
that it's a
cool.
guy. I have no idea the RiotMMO
Yeah,
person
that dude's
behind it.
like
But
sick.
the
But yeah,
RiotMMO.com is a great website, and there's no news. If there was news, they would have had it on there.
oh yeah, they'd be the first. But before even we get there, they're already on the mark.
Hmm.
Absolutely. But yeah, that was just very funny. And I mean, yeah, this is also to be expected, right? And I kind of like that they're gonna, not have to worry about constant feedback from obviously Twitter being a prime example right now. Like, thank God they're not receiving feedback throughout development.
Yeah.
Because there's going to be a lot of doom and gloom before the game even comes out if they say anything else. So I'm
Yeah.
glad they're just going to stick to what they think will be a good game. And I trust in them to make a good game. And they're just going to rely on their vision alone. So I'm kind of happy about that, to be honest. Even though, like, it's also what I expected, like I said, but it's on writing now. They're going to stick with what they think is right for the game.
Yep. And then like this is obviously, like I said, the news did people did not take it well.
No,
Okay. The
not at
comment
all.
section was fire. Okay,
Hmm.
people were not happy, but there was tweets like, "Can't wait to play this when I'm 50." So I'm assuming he's like 45 or something.
Yeah, probably. He sounds excited though. I'm glad. You know, given like
Yeah,
the news that we got, I'm happy some people are optimistic about it.
yeah. We're assuming that he's 45. He's might be 18, and he's saying, "I can't wait to play
Yeah.
when I'm 50," which might be more on the nose. But like, yeah, people
Nah,
were
dude. He
upset.
can't wait to play the game.
Yep. And I'm excited too. Obviously, we're all excited, but the game, with the MMO, the thing is that it's going to be a game that you're playing for hopefully the next 10 years, like something
Yeah,
like
at
that
least.
long. So,
If it's successful, yeah. For
what's a
sure.
couple of
That's
years
what you
now?
expect out of an MMO. Yeah, dude. Yeah, I'll gladly wait like like 6 years for 10
Yeah.
years of a great game. Just let it roll, guys. Let it cook. Let
Let
them
it
cook.
cook. We are not cooked. Let them cook. And then he finished and then he finishes with, "Thank you for believing in us and for your patience. We're incredibly committed to this mission, and we look forward to the adventure ahead and the stories we'll tell together." And that's the end of the tweet. That's it. We've completed it. We've gone through the
Yep.
whole tweet from the beginning to the end. Now you guys know what's up. I hope you understand that it's really not as bad as everyone's kind of making it out to be, but bad news gets the clicks, and that's how it works.
Oh yeah, yeah. People love that. I'm sorry that we're not going to be too negative. That's our bad.
Yeah.
Honestly, we should be more negative.
We could try to make the thumbnail negative. It's over. The
Yeah.
Riot MMO is
It's
done.
who's a really angry character we could put in the thumbnail of this episode. Someone just
Darius.
like seething. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll get the angriest Darius I could find. Slap him on there. Yeah, like put everything on fire. The Riot MMO is gone. Canceled
The Brazen
forever.
Hydra is done. We'll show the Brazen Hydra logo on fire,
Yeah.
breaking in half. I would never do that.
Oh my god. Dude, honestly, at this point, the Riot MMO could get canceled and we'll still talk about it.
Yep. The only
We'll
Riot
still
MMO
just
podcast still
speculate.
alive after there's no more Riot MMO.
Yeah.
What do you guys talk about? The possibility that Riot could go back on their word and start developing a MMO again,
Yeah,
despite them saying
exactly.
specifically that they won't be making an MMO.
Yeah, here's what we want out of a Riot MMO that doesn't exist. I mean, hey, we've already done that for this long. Like, we could go on for 200 more episodes without content,
And we will.
and we
But I do want
absolutely
to
will.
ask you this. I want to ask you this.
Mhm.
So the big thing that he's saying here is that we're going dark. It's going to be resetting our development path also means we'll be going dark for a long time, likely several years. So based
Yeah,
on that, we are currently in 2024. Your previous estimation, I think you said 2028 would be the release.
yeah.
What's your new
Yeah. I think I
estimate?
said late. Yeah. Now, honestly, I would say if we're in 2024 right now, I expected several years. Like, yeah, at this point, I said late 2027, early 2028. I'm gonna say since they're pretty far off, I'm gonna say anywhere between like early 2029 to 2030.
Yep, that's what I was thinking. That's exactly what I was
Yeah,
thinking. I really think 2029 is going to be the day. And by the way, it's
I
not
think
going to
so
be,
too.
it's not like you're not going to hear anything all the way up until 2029. Like you're going to start getting, I think, probably not this year for sure.
No,
Nothing
no.
this year. I don't think you're going to get anything.
Next year,
Maybe
I'm not
towards that
thinking
till
it.
the end of like next year is when we maybe we'll start hearing news again and maybe the name and start like actually getting updates.
Honestly, I'm thinking if the game drops in 2029, I would think we don't. I mean, we might get some information in like 2026. Was actually my thought. 2027, we get some kind of trailer, some kind of name drop, something
Yeah.
official,
Yeah, that
and
makes sense. And
then
then
honestly,
2028 would be like beta kind of thing.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's what's maybe be beta where we get like starting zones and stuff like that we could play through, like up to level
Mhm.
10 or whatever the heck they do for progression. That would be my bet. Is that 2026 we start getting information, and in
I'm fine
2027
with
we get
this
a trailer.
timeline. I'm fine with it. 2029 does not sound that far away. Time feels like it's flying anyways, to be honest. I can't believe that. Wait, when's our anniversary for this podcast? Like, when did we start it?
No way we're getting up on an anniversary. That'd be
Wouldn't it be
insane.
at the. No, when did we start it? I want to know. I know my YouTube
Let
channel.
me
I've been going now for almost 2 years, which is insane to me.
dude, no way. You're really
Yeah, like
almost on 2 years?
let me see when my first video dropped. I can just check on YouTube when our first video dropped for the Brazen Hydra. But
Yeah,
my
I'm about to
first
check right
video
now.
for YouTube
5 months ago.
was,
What the heck, dude? Our first episode was 5 months ago?
yeah, we're almost at our half year.
That's crazy. Yeah, I thought, I mean, like, obviously, I could have just counted the weeks out, and, divide by 4, but what
August
the heck, dude?
22nd, August 29th, 2022 is my first video on YouTube on my channel.
Oh my God. That's absurd. Yeah, you're right, dude. I We're flying through this content, this
Yeah, man,
non-existent
time's gonna
content. We're
fly.
gonna fly through
We're chilling.
it. we
But
are. We're chilling. We're not going anywhere.
but I will say this. So talking about the Riot MMO, we're gonna go back to what we were saying before, which is like Asmongold kind of he's playing World of Warcraft. Everyone's playing World of Warcraft, and World of Warcraft it's great in a lot of ways. We've said that already, but there's a lot of ways that World of Warcraft does need to be fixed. Now I'm gonna go through the three
Absolutely.
recommendations of Asmongold. I want to hear your take on his recommendation to fix WoW, and then why that can be applied to the Riot MMO, like how what they can do to kind of fix it here, right? Because preemptive solutions always better. Preemptive care. We'll
Yeah.
call this.
Oh,
We're gonna.
definitely. Especially
We
in
need to make
MMO,
like
dude. Like,
section sounds. Preemptive care. Poof. Like I want sound
dude,
effects, like different
absolutely.
sections that we have. We should do that.
Yeah, man. Where's our sound bar? Heck yeah.
Yeah,
We'll be
I
like
do
one of
have
those like radio shows.
I have a stream deck.
Oh, perfect, perfect.
I'm gonna figure it
Expect
out. Yeah.
sound effects eventually.
Great point. Good job. You're doing good. It's all gonna be super
like
positive.
Wii Sports. Nice shot.
Oh, I kind of do like that. All right. You ready for the first one?
Yeah, let's hear it.
His first point was reset everybody's spells and then remake each class with 10 spells or less. What are your thoughts?
Whoa.
They're all
Whoa.
dramatic. They're all dramatic. They're all
That's
intense.
wild. Yeah, honestly,
They're all
yeah.
going to smack you in the face.
Yeah, that's definitely a smack in the face. I don't know, dude. Those have to be a really good 10 abilities and spells where I still have fun mashing them after like 60 hours. And that's just for like 2 patches. Cause like I think the fun of having 20 abilities is that you can get by only using like 5 of them, honestly. And you'll be able to do like the basic content in the game. But if you're looking to get into like arena PvP and you're looking to like climb ranked, you slowly start learning your abilities, you start remembering where they, like where they are and what they do and the situations you want to use them in. So I like having your basic rotation of abilities and then having the more obscure situational abilities that you learn how to use as you get better at the game. I feel like that added a
Mm,
lot of playtime for me in World of Warcraft, especially during PvP.
yeah.
So
Like
for
I can
me,
give
dude,
you
I
an
don't know. I
ability
like
that's an
having
exact
20 abilities.
example of that. So, like my
Mhm.
paladin, right? An ability that would definitely get cut would be shackle undead because it's pretty useless. Like, when are you ever going to
Yeah.
shackle something? However, if you go against the Death Knight, especially an unholy Death Knight, and you shackle undead their
Oh,
pet, it's
doesn't that feel
really
so
annoying
good?
for them.
Doesn't
And
that
so that's like,
like you are using your
yeah.
class to the best of your ability? You are using everything in your power to get an advantage. I love that. Like,
But there is a downside. There
mhm.
is a downside. Like I agree with you that a lot of spells is a good feeling because you can find those moments where you want to use that spell. And if it's like even a small moment like that, where you're almost, or like you're in a dungeon, like almost all dungeons don't have undead, but then you get that one dungeon that has an undead race and you can shackle it, like, oh, the pally's gonna CC now. It's kind of cool.
Yeah. Dude,
But
yeah, no, I love
the
that.
downside is that it reduces the ability for other, like if you want to have this game be cross-platform, if you want to have Xbox and
Oh,
PlayStation and
yeah.
PC, 10 spells and those being like quality spells is better.
Mhm. Yeah, no, that's a very good point. That's true. This is definitely
And
my
I
own
don't know if they want
selfish
to go
experience on PC
cross-platform, but
that I prefer. But yeah, that's a good question. I mean, here's the thing, Final Fantasy 14 has full controller support. They're on PlayStation. I don't know how many people play on PlayStation because I honestly don't know anyone that plays Final Fantasy 14 other than me. for like a
Yeah.
good couple of years. So I don't know how many people are playing on PlayStation, how many people prefer controller, if they enjoy controller, if they're using it competitively in the rating scene on that game. But it is there, and I did try it at one point, and they're very similar to World of Warcraft. You have your 20 abilities, your basic rotation, your build spend abilities, and your obscure situational ones. But honestly, it worked out pretty well in my experience. I will say it's obviously not as good as keyboard and mouse, and never will be even close.
Yep.
So there is gonna be that downside. It would be better with 10 abilities for sure. But they
Yeah.
do make it work. I'm not
I,
sure if it's worth it to have 20 abilities and have that kind of controller support, but it does work.
See, I used there was an add-on that we had, and we'll talk about add-ons in a bit, but there was an
Oh
add-on that
yeah.
I had that allowed me to use my controller on my on World of Warcraft for my PC. And
Mhm.
I had my PC hooked up to my TV, and then I was playing with a controller, which was pretty cool. But I will say this, like I did heal a dungeon, but it's much you're not efficient. Like it's not gonna
Yeah,
be
you're
as good
not
as
as
a keyboard
efficient.
and mouse with that many spells
Exactly.
because it's takes one button. Instead of pressing one button, now you have to press two. Like you have to press the R
Yeah,
trigger
you
and
hold
then
down.
A. Yeah.
Yep, Final
Or
Fantasy
R
14 was the same
and
way.
exactly.
You're
And so it's
holding
not
down
you're
your
not gonna
like
be as
bumpers and
efficient.
triggers. Yeah. No, I agree with that. No matter what, I think it's kind of like comparable to like a first person shooter playing with a controller versus playing mouse and keyboard, right? Your aim's gonna be way better on mouse and keyboard. But I think this is to an even bigger extent. Because it's even more so, like, especially if you're playing like a tab targeting game like World of Warcraft or Final Fantasy 14. Um, I definitely had issues with that with Final Fantasy 14, where you're trying to target one guy, dude. Just oh my, and you're like mashing A to cycle through all of the targets on your screen right now. And,
Yeah.
like, they had different modes. They had different, like, targeting modes where it's like, "Oh, this will target whoever you're facing first," versus this will target from left to right on your screen. They really tried to accommodate for it, and ultimately, it's a good experience. It is a positive experience, I would say. It's just not m mouse and keyboard. Nothing's gonna match it.
I have a solution. Instead of reducing the spells to compensate for PlayStation Xbox, sell the Runeterra Battle Keyboard and Mouse combination with the lap pad underneath it
Do
with the game.
collector's edition?
Collector's edition. Bro,
Oh
it's a
my
computer
god.
at this point. Just let them use mouse and keyboard on the Xbox and PlayStation. That's the best
Dude,
solution.
honestly, yeah. I
We're
haven't
there.
even looked into that. I don't know if you could do that in Final Fantasy 14. If you could just hook up a mouse and keyboard, that'd be awesome on your PlayStation.
PlayStation does support mouse and keyboard, just depends if the game allows for it.
Really? Okay,
Yep.
I'd be very shocked if Final Fantasy 14 does not allow it
Yeah.
because that game's
Razer
already set up for mouse and keyboard.
Yeah, Razer, they literally have something that's literally for that, like for sitting on the couch and playing with mouse and keyboard. It's like
Oh
I
yeah.
forgot. Yeah, and
Yeah, it's
Corsair has another
comfy.
one. Yeah, yeah, they
It
have stuff
works.
like that. And we have several years apparently, so there should be time to develop it if it's not already there. But it's
This is
definitely
why they're
there.
going dark.
Yeah,
To develop the ultimate mouse and keyboard lap pad.
yeah. I do think that's the best solution. I think 10 spells is
I
a bit
agree.
too few.
Yeah, because I understand. Okay, for a lot of people who don't play MMOs, I think this is one of the most overwhelming aspects to them is when they watch it on Twitch or on YouTube and they see those 20 spells and abilities and they see the crazy UI and they don't know what the heck's going on. They get overwhelmed and they don't bother playing. But it's all about how those 20 spells are presented to you as you play the
Mhm.
game. I
Exactly.
think World of Warcraft did a very good job, especially in vanilla, with slowly introducing the spells to you as you train them from your class trainer, or even just in modern WoW, where you just kind of get them naturally as you level up. You
Yeah,
get those spells
you
and
just have
abilities so
one spell at the
slowly.
start. Yeah.
Yeah, you're getting one spell and ability at a time, and you're reading. If you read each and every one, and you actually just try them out on the closest enemy, you're gonna figure it out pretty quickly because you're really not like getting 20 abilities or spells at once. That's not gonna happen unless you're boosting a character, which you should not if it's your first time playing the game. So I think they could easily get away with 20 spells and abilities. It's just about how they present them to the player.
Yeah. So we're in agreement on that. We don't like the 10 spells for every class and deleting all the spells. And so the Riot
Yeah,
MMO,
I
I would
do
like to
not
see
like
some
that.
spells.
Yeah, you got to remember that I'm going to be playing this class for hundreds of hours. Like, I don't want 10 spells and abilities for hundreds of hours. I'm not going to play a class for that long otherwise.
Okay. I'm with you. But I'm curious even more about your opinion on this next one. Remove all rating difficulties. Remove all rating difficulties except for 40-man raids. Then make 40-man raids about as challenging as Ulduar hard mode, which Ulduar is just a raid, but he's basically saying take all the difficulties away and make it
Yeah,
just
just
one
have the raid.
difficulty and it's a 40-man raid.
Dude, okay. This is very conflicting. My my absolute fantasy says yes, 100 billion% yes. Make it just this is how strong the boss is. Either you
Yeah.
kill it or you don't.
Yeah.
The logical brain in me says the problem is that we're not in those times anymore where like the fun of it was the journey of slowly figuring out the boss and getting strong enough to fight him with your team and all that because like dude, people down like heroic, which is like supposed to be pretty damn difficult bosses. They'll down them in like week one. What are those people gonna do now? Because people have just gotten better at video games now. Is the problem?
That's the one
And
thing
you
that
need to
difficulties
have
does
content for
solve.
those people who eat it up in 2 seconds.
Yeah, it gives them a harder challenge to pursue. But I always thought it was stupid that you're just killing the same boss like again.
Yeah, I
You
agree with
know,
that, dude. That's why I think I like the idea of hard difficulty with special mechanics that make it like, interesting, or like a secret phase for the final boss where they transform into something crazy, and they normally don't do that in the regular difficulty. I always think that's really cool.
actually, I did like that. Yeah, I do like that. Like the mythic fight and the heroic fight are sometimes different than the normal and the obviously LFR.
Yeah,
Yeah, but like
yeah. I would say
I
I
do
think
like
two
that.
difficulties would work. Honestly,
Yeah, I think it's
I
gotten
could see.
overblown.
Yeah, it's so bloated now. Yeah, it's a
Mhm.
problem for World of Warcraft for
I
sure.
would say, what would you say difficulties that you keep and difficulties that you remove?
Oh, we're definitely removing LFR and normal, right?
100%. And you don't.
Yeah,
There's a
it
lot we
would be
can talk
heroic
about
and mythic.
LFR, and I think that's like going to be not this episode, the next episode. But what would you? What else would you do?
Yeah, I would say heroic should be a little tougher to keep people in longer, as long as it stays entertaining and people don't just get frustrated and quit. Right? There's a nice balance you have to keep there, and that'd
Hmm.
be your new normal. And then mythic, dude, I don't know if mythic's too hard the way it is right now in World of Warcraft. That raid difficulty might be a little too high to the point where people don't even attempt it. But I do think
That's
there
a
should be some
tuning.
level of like something that'll keep those people around, those die-hard players.
Yeah, there should be the normal
There
difficulty, which is like you kill the boss. This is it. This is the normal difficulty. And if you do this, it cannot be easy. Like it still has to be difficult
Yeah, it
enough
should
that
not be
not
easy.
everyone's successful. Like some people, yeah, aren't good enough to kill normal, and they never do.
Yeah.
And then there should be the one
Yeah.
difficulty above that for the people that are just insane. And this one is like, yeah, almost no one's able to do it. Like this is for like the upper echelon guilds, like the race to world first type people, like they're able to complete this raid. And it's not even
Yeah,
something that
like
you
when you
gear out of, like everyone just gears out of it at the end. Uh
Yeah, no,
it
that should
is,
never be a thing.
yeah.
I mean, like, yeah, I definitely I want that feeling of, you see the guy with the cool title and the cool armor, the cool sword in the capital city of Demacia, and you're like, "Whoa, that dude completed freaking like mythic Acathia." He did the Acathia raid on the highest difficulty with his guild. My God, that's insane.
Yes.
You want that feeling in an MMO and be like, man, I wish that was me. I need to get into a guild. I need to do that difficulty. I need to do that hard raid. That's an amazing feeling in MMO that's so hard to capture because you need to get that difficulty just right to where if somebody really, tries and gets into a good group of people, good guild, and they really push to get that highest level, they can do it without it being like insanely frustrating. People just don't even attempt it.
I think what you just said was literally one of the most important things that they need to solve for the Riot MMO. And I think that Asmon's next piece ties into this without even knowing. So you ready for the last one?
Let's hear it.
Remove all add-ons with no exceptions.
He's spitting.
Yeah.
Wow. This man
Logic.
is being true. Wow. That's the
Now,
most truthful thing I've ever heard.
I will say one thing though about removing all add-ons with no exceptions is that the problem with Blizzard is that they haven't, for example, if you want to do RP on a server, right? And I
Oh
understand
yeah,
like
you
not
you
everyone
need total
RPs.
RP3.
You need certain add-ons.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think that's reason enough to keep all add-ons, and I think you need to draw a line in the sand that says no add-ons. It can't be some add-ons or we approve add-ons.
No,
I
it
think
should be up
at
to them to create what the
yes,
add-ons are
they
now.
need to create that.
Peop Yeah, exactly. People want some new RP tools to make RP more fun and easier. Then it should be up to Blizzard or Riot to make that into the game, right?
Exactly. Not some
Yeah.
random developer creating an add-on for the game. Like if there's something
Yeah.
that should be in the game, they should add it. And they should take into fact the fact that yeah, there's people that do RP stuff and there everyone that's doing RP is using this add-on, then you should just make it in the game. And I understand like if it's not there, you know, you won't know it. But you're going to be taking feedback. Like people if this add-on never existed, there would have been enough feedback from the player base telling Blizzard that this is what they need, and it would have been implemented in the game at this point if there was no add-ons. Like you would have had an RP
Oh yeah.
feature already if there wasn't add-ons.
That's extremely true. Absolutely. And like even like it's reached a point where Blizzard relies pretty heavily on the add-ons that exist in the game, especially Deadly Boss Mods, which
Oh
is
my gosh.
it's an add-on that tells you how to do the boss fights correctly. So you like boss fights will have like certain mechanics, like oh, you have to stand behind the boss at this point because he's going to do a big sword swing right in front of him. If you stand in that, you're going to die. The
And then he does
add-on
a space
will straight
effect.
up
Run
tell you
away,
when
little
it's
girl.
time. Yeah. Yeah, watch your step. Yeah, it'll straight up tell you at the exact time when you need to get behind that boss. There'll be a big pop-up on your screen saying get behind the boss, and there'll be like audio cue and everything. All you have to do is follow what the game's telling what the add-on tells you to do.
Yep.
And Blizzard has reached a point where they've increased the difficulty of raids so much to compensate for that add-on because they expect everyone to have it now because everyone does have it.
What
So if
one
you're
thing
playing
I
without
did
deadly
when I
boss
didn't
mods, the
use
raids are
it,
almost
I
impossible
appreciated
now.
it. When I wasn't using Deadly Boss Mods, I appreciated the raid a little bit more because I was able to see. I feel like I wasn't watching the mechanics anymore. You know, I was watching the text to tell me what to do. And then
Mhm.
I was able to like I really looked at the boss when I wasn't using, which don't tell anyone I did this, otherwise I'll never get into a raid ever again.
Yeah, I was about
But
to
yeah,
say,
like
yeah, dude, that's pretty
every
damn
raid I ever
risky.
did with Samicus, I never used add-ons. I never used deadly boss mods.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really?
I would just watch, yeah. And you appreciate the boss more. Like you're watching, you're not listening for the countdown or listening to Run Away Little Girl
Yeah, or the air
or watch
horn.
your step. Yeah, or the air horn. You're just watching the boss and you're watching what the boss is doing and reacting to it. Now, my reaction was a little slower than everyone else's, and so it did put me in like sometimes like if I
Yeah,
had to run
dangerous
to a
situations.
circle, yeah, I was clearly delayed, you know?
Yeah.
But like I like there were times when I'd see everyone preemptively moving to places and I would just preemptively move with them, but I didn't know why they were preemptively moving until I saw the boss do a move and I was like, "Oh, they're moving to these spots that they can get into a circle." I understand.
That's insane. Like you are watching like behind the curtain, like what it actually looks like when all these people have insanely perfect AI timing on
Yeah.
the on the boss mechanics. How weird it must look.
Yeah. But I like if I went back to WoW, I'd probably not use Deadly Boss Mods again. What I was doing was I'd go on WoWhead and I'd read the abilities and what they do. And then they have like these little videos that show them doing the fight or whatever on Wowhead, and then I was able to see like what the animation is. And so I would just
Oh no
remember
way, that's
that and then I'd go
cool.
into the fight.
Wow,
And that was way
I did
better
not
than
know
Deadly
that.
Boss Mods. But the problem is that the fight's tuned for Deadly Boss Mods, and so the timing is set up for that, and people are preemptively doing stuff because of Deadly Boss Mods. So
Yeah,
it
that's the
sucked.
biggest problem. Is that Blizzard's actually expecting people to have add-ons at this point. And that's just
Yep.
bad. That just makes for bad game design, especially for new players.
So
So yeah.
in terms of Asmongold, we only agreed with one. Wow, I
Yeah, I'm
was not
surprised,
expecting that.
honestly.
Remove
I
all
was not
rating
expecting
difficulties
that
except for
either.
140 man. You didn't agree, and I didn't agree. Uh,
Yeah.
reset everybody's spells and then remake each class with 10 spells or less. Neither of us
Yeah, I
agreed.
hard disagree with that, to be honest.
Yeah.
I hard disagree.
Oh wait, yeah, but we did agree with the one. Yeah, remove all add-ons with no exceptions. We agree with that.
Oh yeah, yeah. Definitely like 1 billion%.
Yep.
Remove add-ons created so many problems for the game. For sure. It made everything so unnecessarily muddy when it didn't
And this
need
is
to
why the
be.
right mode just don't even get into the waters with the add-ons. Don't even get into the waters with all these different difficulties. There should be 2 difficulties. Don't get into the water with add-ons. Don't even offer the option. Like just keep it as there's no add-ons and let the game move forward from that. In terms of spells, I do think that there should be a bunch of spells. So that really doesn't help the Riot MMO.
I
I hope they
agree.
add a lot of spells. I would
Yeah,
not like to see a what was it? Was it New World that had like 3 spells? It was trash.
oh, I mean, honestly, it's one of the biggest reasons why I don't like Guild Wars 2. Why I couldn't get into it personally, because Guild Wars 2, you have like 8 abilities. I mean, like,
Yeah.
you switch weapons, and that will give you different abilities depending on what weapon you have equipped. But even then, it did not feel like enough for me. I'm so used to my 20 abilities, and that was honestly some of the most fun I had in World of Warcraft. Was just like pushing my class to its limit,
Yeah.
seeing how much potential I can get out of every single ability, being as efficient as possible with all of my spells where I utilize everything. Like that was when I was having the most fun because you felt like, yeah, I'm a warrior. I'm gonna spell reflect this mage shooting a big fireball at me. Bam! I got spell reflect on my keyboard. I'm ready for that. Bounce it right back at him.
I
Most
was just about
warriors
to
don't even
say
use
that
this ability. I
arena is where
love
you
spell
shine
reflect,
in that. Like changing your
dude. Yeah,
when you're in an arena and you're changing your talent before the fight starts because the class that you're
yeah.
going up against,
I
you
love
feel
it.
like a G. And when you use
Yeah,
that
you feel like an
spell because you
absolute
changed that
god,
PvP talent, yeah, and you changed it just for
dude.
that
Yes,
person, it feels so good. And that's why I don't think limiting spells is the way to go. Like
dude.
10 spells is
Absolutely.
insane. Like
Oh
that's
my
nothing.
god. Heck yeah. No, yeah, I agree. That somehow talking about it made me hate the idea of 10 abilities even more. I do
Yeah,
not
no.
want 10 abilities.
It's not an
I want
RPG. It's MMORPG.
yeah,
MMORPG
dude.
needs
I don't know,
spells.
it's yeah, I want there to be a decent gap between the warrior who utilizes all their abilities and the warrior who uses their basic 5 that they can just spam and get by with, you know? Everyone can get by with like 5 abilities, but you can push it further. I love to have that option.
We gotta disagree. I think the fact that we're brothers, like we just don't disagree a lot. Like we talk too
I noticed
much
that
until
too.
we get on the podcast and we're like, yeah, great point. I'm like, yeah, no, you know what? You made a great point. And you're like, no, I
We
think your
gas
point
each
was
other up
better.
so much.
Yeah, it's the problem. And I'm like, yeah, I agree.
I mean, in all fairness, we like a lot of our World of Warcraft, or at least my World of Warcraft experience, was spend a
Where's with
decent amount
you?
with you. Yeah,
100%. I
we
think
we,
about
we would go
literally
into
all
arenas
of it
together a
since
lot.
Legion was me and you.
Yeah,
That's like when I would play.
yeah, straight up. So like the things that we did together are things we thought were fun. So
Yeah. And we were always in
like we liked
Discord.
all the
So
same things about WoW. Yeah. Yeah, we gas each other up all the time on this podcast. I think it's
yeah.
hilarious.
Well, this was honestly good. Look, we're gonna keep doing this, guys. It's not gonna stop. We're gonna keep doing the Brazen Hydra until the RiotMMO comes out. Long time after the RiotMMO comes out, we're gonna be here. Uh, we've gone this whole time without any news. If I realize it might not seem like that, but we have, and so we're gonna keep doing
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Really, we just talk about MMOs because we're both passionate MMO players, and we speculate on the right MMO and what we think they should do and what they shouldn't do, and we talk about the lore because we both think the lore is important, and we'll
Oh
keep
yeah.
doing that.
You know it. We're not going
Yep.
anywhere.
So I hope you enjoyed this episode, and we'll continue this conversation in the next one right here in the Brazen Hydra pub in Bilgewater. You can find me at Edgrove on socials and YouTube.
And you can find me at Conquest95 on Twitter.
Let's stay up to date on the goings on for this podcast specifically. Follow us at the Brazen Hydra on Twitter, where you can add us questions or suggest topics for us to talk about. You can also find us at thebrazenhydra.com. If you want more Brazen Hydra, head over to our Clips channel, the Brazen Hydra Clips on YouTube. Thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you in the next one.